Hi, everybody. This is Cheryl, and this is my Ypifany channel where we talk about learning, development, evaluation, and everything that has anything to do with that. Okay. So today is going to be a lot of fun. I'm talking about YouTube and how I have discovered that YouTube is a really awesome tool for us as L&D professionals to use. But let me tell you how I came about discovering that. It's not something I read. It's not something somebody told me, right? I did the research myself, but it was like accidental research. Okay. So I want to talk about how I really came to recognize the usefulness of this. So y'all know I just started this channel like in, I don't know, what was it? May, June, April, something around there. A few months ago. Okay. I just started this channel. Now I've been on YouTube for a minute, right? I've been here for a while because the stuff that I had with my books, that's been on YouTube, but I never really was on here really trying to do anything. Okay. Or going here to try to find how to put together an IKEA table that I bought or something like that. Okay. Where, I get instructions like that. So I can tell you to the day when I became really interested in YouTube and what was going on and how we could use it in learning and development and designing learning experiences. So I was in a 30-day training, okay, in March. The entire month of March, I was in training. And after that training, I remember that I came home. And okay, so let me start here. It actually starts 4 years ago as to how all this happened. So what I'm going to give is a timeline, or it's almost like a what do you call those things? Those, those trees where you see all your relatives, genealogy. Okay. And I have like a genealogy of how I came to be interested in YouTube. Okay. So 4 years ago, I participated in a Black Nonbelievers conference in Atlanta. Okay. Mandisa Thompson is the head of Black Nonbelievers in the main organization in Atlanta, Georgia. So I reached out to her. She invited me to come down for their 5th anniversary celebration, right? And so there was that. Plus, I had been there to speak to the group. Now, about my book, Firing God. So when I went there to speak to the group, the first person that I met that had anything to do, there were 2 significant people that I met, okay, that got me to where I am right now. That was Mona Simone and Pastor Lorenzo Neal. Okay, so I'll talk. Mona wasn't able to make it that day or to make it to my talk. But I did meet her later in the day. There was another event that we went to after that, and she was there. I met her. She was very, very nice, very beautiful lady, very smart. I was very happy to meet her. So after that, we only talked for a few minutes, not very long. But after that, I came home. I went on Facebook. I joined her Facebook group. And, I would comment and stuff as she made, because she's very smart. She would post these really thought-provoking posts and stuff. So sometimes I would comment on it. So that was 4 years ago, and then up to this year. So this year, after I came back from that 30-day training, I was on Facebook one day doing whatever, and I noticed a post from her wife, I believe it was, right? So what I read, I believe it was from her wife, but what I read, it disturbed me because it sounded like, she had passed away, and I was like, oh my God. Now, again, I'd only been commenting on her posts and stuff, and I only knew her from the few minutes that I met her in Atlanta. I was like, oh my goodness. But I wasn't sure from what I was reading. It was ambiguous. I wasn't sure what was happening. So I'm like, okay. So I know that she had or has groups on YouTube and other places maybe, but I was only a part of her group on Facebook. So I said, well, let me go to YouTube so I can see, if anybody is saying anything about this, because if she's on YouTube, I'm sure people are talking about it. So I went to YouTube and I typed in her name, and the first video that came up that I clicked on that was talking about her and what had happened was, and this may not have been the same day. This may have been the day after, or a couple days after or something. But the video that came up was Larry Nelson. He was talking about what had happened or hadn't happened, or so come to find out, and I was happy to hear that in fact she was okay. All right, she was fine, but apparently that was a huge thing, and I'm super, super new to all this. So I didn't understand where all this was coming from. There was a lot of history. I was just happy that it wasn't true, because, I'd met her and I thought she was wonderful. And I was glad she was okay. But I subscribed to Larry Nelson because I liked Larry's personality, and, nothing was staged. It was just a regular person with a phone, talking to it on YouTube. And I thought, that's really cool. That's really cool. It's not all commercialized and how you see some of these other YouTube videos. So I was happy to see that. Now, in listening to Larry just talk about whatever, he was talking about, another name came up. So apparently I gathered from listening to him that something had recently happened to him on YouTube that had to do with his daughter. And, he would bring it up. He was clearly, still upset about it, or, he still had, felt some type of way about what had happened. And he mentioned several names, regarding that. I remember Von, TSCC. I didn't know, what, never heard any of those things except, when he mentioned them. So I went to look for Von to see who that was and what she was saying. And, I thought I found, so some of these things are hard for me to find because I could not understand, like, what are you saying? Like, how do you spell that? So it took me a minute to kind of try to find these things. So I think I found Von, but I didn't subscribe to her channel or anything. I just went to see if this was in fact the person he was talking about. And I think it was. But another person that he kept mentioning as not necessarily being on his side, but really doing the work and the research to find out if what people were saying was true. And that was Phy Babe. That's who he mentioned. So I said, okay, let me first of all see if I'm hearing that right. Like, is it Fire Babe? Is it Phy Babe? Like, how do you what is he saying? So again, here I am typing in several things, trying to find who this person or people are. I didn't know. So I finally found Phy Babe's channel. And I subscribed. I really liked her. Like, I like the way she gives her commentary and just her whole personality. I really, really like that. So now I will subscribe to Larry Nelson and Phy Babe. Okay. And I'm listening to, I'm on there occasionally hearing what's going on. And I click the little bell so I can see when they come up, so I can, if I'm able to see what they're talking about. Now, someone else that I heard that Larry kept mentioning, and I wasn't sure if he had a good or a bad relationship with this person. I couldn't, it could have gone either way. I couldn't tell with the way he was referring to him. And that's Jay Wilson. Okay, so I went to Jay Wilson's channel and I would listen to him. I could tell, I wasn't sure, but it seemed like he was a minister because he would kind of, talk like that. And so I started, I subscribed to Jay Wilson's channel. So now I have Larry, Phy Babe, and Jay Wilson. So I'm subscribed to all of their channels. And they're, I listen to what they say. Again, I'm enjoying Larry's realness. I just love listening to Phy Babe and all her energy and, the things she says. And I don't have to run around YouTube to find out what's going on, because I just go to her channel and she talks about all the stuff that's going on, you know, and it's really interesting. And the way that she presents it is really good too. And then Jay Wilson, I mean, he's very funny. I mean, so funny. Jay is absolutely funny. So I love listening to him. So now I'm listening to all, and I'm listening because they're mentioning other people too. So I'm just going, you know, tangentially to see, okay, who is this person and who is that person? And what do they have to do with this thing, you know? So just trying to make this web fit, like make everything fit into its place, so I understand when Phy Babes talking about something that, okay, I know what you're talking about, you know, other than like what, who, how, what happened? Okay. So now I'm going to these other people's channels and I'm subscribing to some I'm not. It's just, you know, what my preference is. But another name that I've been noticing, I haven't gone to his or her channel because I wasn't sure, but was Sean Bradley. Okay, that his name kept coming up. So I finally went to Sean's channel and I knew right away where he was from, because I'm from Louisiana as well, Southern Louisiana. You probably can't hear it, but when I go home, you could. So I could hear it in his voice. He's got to be from somewhere in that state, right? Because of his, you know, the way he speaks. So that was a little it was pleasant for me, you know, because it's been a while since I've been home, and you know, the way he talks just reminds me of my folks. So yeah. So I found Sean Bradley and I subscribed to his channel as well. And now I'm listening to the various conversations, you know, and all the shenanigans that are going on and just all the shenanigans, right? So there's one other person I want to, well, actually two more people that I want to mention as far as this whole YouTube thing and how I came to see the relevance, you know, of it for the work that I'm doing in learning development and evaluation, right? So I had been hearing, like in the background. So it started with Larry Nelson and he mentioned TSCC, right? I didn't know what that was. And I think I tried to look it up and I couldn't find, I don't know, whatever. But, you know, finally, now this has only been since like April. Okay. And we're in July now. So hasn't been that long. Okay. Just since April. So the TSCC in the background I'm hearing, and VS had been coming up in various conversations, right? I tried to be in the beginning, like I said, look for that, but I just couldn't find the channel or something, or maybe I did and I thought it wasn't it. I don't know, something like that. But I finally found who that was, who VS is, you know, and I totally, whatever has happened in the past, I totally missed, but it was something significant, apparently. Like it seems like something really significant. In a negative sense, it seems like to me, okay, had been going on. So and the last person I want to mention is, and I heard his name from Phy Babe originally, I think. Yeah, I think it was from Phy Babe. And that's James Caldwell, Spill It Boy, I believe. And the first video I saw that James Caldwell did was about Vegas Gate. Of course, I have no idea what that is, what Vegas Gate is, but I looked at his video because it seemed to me at that time, that this was James Caldwell just seems really, what's the word I'm looking for? He seems, oh my goodness, very put together, you know, like what word is that? Like this talk about Vegas Gate was like a little, he was doing it because he had to, right? Not because he wanted to. Whereas some of the other people that I hear talking about, you know, mess and all the shenanigans going on and stuff, you know, they're in there, they want to talk about that stuff. But James just seemed to be like, oh, okay, you know, let me just do this. Now, again, this is the first video. I know nothing about James Caldwell. You know, he just seems really classy. And going over here to talk about this thing is something that he just has to do to get, to get through so he can get back to his regularly scheduled programming. Okay. So that was my first time listening to, and I've seen since then that he talks about, that he talks about other things. But so now there's a lot of ratchetness that goes on, in and among these groups on YouTube. And I'm not saying anything that nobody knows. Okay. But there's also a lot of beautiful things that are happening that I've been able to glean, out of listening to these content creators, and some of the things that they do are just, they were enlightening for me because they helped me to see how I, as a learning designer, can create more inclusive and significant learning opportunities for the people, that I interact with and the clients that I create courses for. So one of the things that they do is, I'm sorry, there was one more person that I wanted to mention that's on my little family tree here, and that's Tracy. So I heard about Tracy from Phy Babe again, and what I did, if I knew nothing else, what I did know is that Phy Babe and Tracy do not get along. Okay, and I haven't investigated the history of that or anything. So I also began to watch Tracy, and did I subscribe to Tracy's channel? I think I did. Yeah, I believe I did. And in the beginning, I told you about Pastor Lorenzo Neal, so we're going to get back to that too. But okay, let me finish this right here. So what I began to see from these content creators were some of the things that they were doing to interact with and engage their subscribers. Okay. The first thing I noticed was the challenges. I remember Tracy and Phy Babe doing a challenge, where they had people participate and compete. Some people are so rude, right? And compete so that they can, win prizes, so, and interact with them. So I thought that was wonderful. So I'm like, man, how can I use that in my learning design? Like, that would be really awesome to be able to do something like that. Because as you can see behind me, this stuff right here is for a course that I'm co-creating with my partner on entrepreneurship. And it's entrepreneurship in the Black community. So there's a nonprofit. This is for a nonprofit in Duluth, Minnesota that we're doing that one for. And the one over here, all those yellow things and there's stuff on the wall over there and all that, that's for a course or a curriculum that we're creating for, excuse me a second. Paul, close that door. Thank you. A curriculum that we're creating for cybersecurity students, okay, 6th to 12th grade. So we're doing it for that. So I'm looking at how we can use YouTube, and you all, I'm saying you all, like Phy Babe, Larry Nelson, Sean, Tracy, James Caldwell. I have to tell you, you all have been very influential in helping me to think through how I can use some of what you do, the way that you interact with your subscribers, the way that you interact with each other. I know that Jay Wilson is planning something for Labor Day, to have people come down. He's got business people. I think that's some of the most beautiful stuff. Like, I really, really, really enjoy that. And the way that I define learning is the sharing of perspective and experience. Okay, and learning has no goal, right? Sharing of perspective and experience. The goal comes along when it's education or training or development or mentoring or something like that, right? But learning in and of itself as just, a process that everything does. It doesn't take a human mind to learn, right? And we don't only learn from other humans, right? We learn, if some of us have pets, dogs and cats or whatever, you learn from other sentient beings, right? So just what I can do to not constrain the learning environment, because we do that a lot in learning and development. We put all kinds of constraints, and sometimes those constraints are necessary, right? Sometimes you want to put those constraints because you really want that person or those people, that group, to go in a certain direction and to do a certain thing. I mean, I was in the Army, right? So the Army has a lot of constraints, about the way that you do things. I also work for the federal government right now. Lots of constraints, right? Some places they're necessary, some they're not. They're just there so other people can feel like they have power, but that's a totally different thing. That's not what this video is about. So it's the challenges. I love, 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 love how they promote their subscribers. I think that is absolutely fantastic. What else do I have here? Yeah, they promote their subscribers' channels. The competitions, the way. So for me, and one of the things that I've proposed to one of the instructors in the cybersecurity course that we're doing is that this is 6th to 12th graders. All right. They're already going to school, and the curriculum is going to be carried out for 2 hours on a Saturday for 18 weeks. I mean, come on. Right. And we've had a long discussion about how this thing is going to be designed. But one thing I said is, and that was not in the curriculum before, is that we really need to be able to take advantage of YouTube and allow them to interact with each other through that medium. They don't always have to be sitting in front of your face, listening to some kind of lecture or whatever. Plus, we're using reality pedagogy. Okay, which really puts forward the principles of hip hop. And I actually have, I'll get it right here really quickly. I have right here hip hop education. Okay, reality pedagogy. And I'm actually going to be doing a talk on reality pedagogy for a training conference coming up very soon. But it promotes rap. Okay. And that's where the teacher is. So the teacher is like the rap artist. The teacher is creating a space for others. Okay. So you're up there ciphering, you're up there, doing what you do, your talent. But in doing that, you're not constricting people, right? You're creating space for them to be creative as well. And b-boying, that's another part of hip hop education. And that's about movement. And again, creating space, allowing people space, to move and to learn and to make their own choice and decision about where they want to go next in their learning. Okay. Not constraining them in that way. Graffiti is another aspect of hip hop education. And that's where you're allowed to write, share, discuss, create. You have a space, for them to do certain things. Everything doesn't have to be on pencil and paper. Everything doesn't have to be on the computer. You're actually offering other ways for them to be able to express themselves, whether it's paint or chalk or, a role play or something like that, right? You're allowing that. DJing is another one. So DJing, and this is very interesting because this course is in cyber. Now, DJing is about manipulation of technology, right? It's deconstructing and reconstructing things. It's hacking. Okay, DJing is basically hacking. It's play, right? Where you're just allowed to play around with concepts and ideas, and test them in this way, question them, ask a question, this kind of question about them or that, right? And then the last one is knowledge of self. Okay, that's very, very important to go in with that, because what I admire about, and you see ciphering not just in rappers and how they're just off the cuff, able to just come up with rhymes. And I love that. I think that's an amazing talent. But you also see that with ministers. Ministers they do that too. If you really pay attention to that, right? They cipher stuff it just comes up, right? All the time. And it makes sense. It rhymes even sometimes, right? But that's the kind of thing you want people to be able to do. And you can't do that if you lack knowledge of self, because if you have stuff in the way, like you're afraid to be a certain way in front of people, or you're afraid to show a certain part of yourself. It's hard to do all this other stuff. It's hard to have movement. It's hard to be authentic, if you're hiding, if you're hiding aspects of yourself. So we're using reality pedagogy to help design this space, because we want this to be a space of learning, not just teaching. Because if you're teaching somebody, that does not automatically mean they're learning. It doesn't mean that. Okay. So Facebook is an amazing tool that we can use in a learning and development and evaluation space. And I made another video recently about how, so I went on here to try to look for people who were talking about the same thing I'm talking about, just talking about it like this. Not necessarily the fancy schmancy videos, all the names that you hear, like Marcus Buckingham and stuff, all those high, but just regular people, talking about learning and development just the way I am. And it's hard. If you know somebody, please let me know. I only have, I don't even know. I know of some people, but I don't see anybody just talking about it, like this. So, and that's, I'm sure, because I haven't looked at everybody on YouTube and I just haven't found them. So I need to start looking, because right now, it's looking boring. I mean, the post I made was about how boring we are in this domain. We talk about the same stuff. We really do. We talk about the same stuff, the same people, which is crazy. In learning and development, you would think you would have nothing but original, ideas. You would think that, right? But that doesn't seem to be the case. But so that's all really I wanted to say about that. And I'm really grateful for the content creators that I've been following. And, I've commented, I've made like 2 or 3 comments on somebody. I'll say good morning or hi, or, something like that. I know I've commented in Jay's chat, Phy Babes. Oh, and what I found interesting too was the super chats. I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, I've never heard of that. So I actually had to Google super chats. Like, what is that? So I did. And I saw it. Apparently that's something new that YouTube has started. So I tried it. I tried it out just to see like how that works and what that means and what that feels like, right? And one thing that I've noticed is that attention is like currency on Facebook. Like the currency is not the money, it's not the super, it's the attention, right? That's what you want to have, right? That's the thing that that helps to get you to that next level. So now I'm thinking, okay, how can I design aspects of my programs where individuals get attention that they need and want and sometimes crave, because everybody, one thing that I have here, is it up here? It is. So one thing that I have here on my wall, I talk about the end results. Every training, development, mentoring, coaching, whatever, there's some kind of end result that people are looking for. And one of the end results I have up here is recognition. Everybody wants to be known, seen, heard. They want to belong, right? That's all of us. Every single one of us wants that. Well, let me not say that. That may not be true, but most of us, I think, want to be recognized as something, even if it's recognized as not wanting recognition. Okay, that's still being recognized. Yeah. So everybody wants. So now I'm thinking, okay, what are we doing? What am I doing? How am I designing that opportunity into, these courses? Opportunities for people to be recognized. And we're talking about that now. The courses are they're pretty young, we're going to be done with both of them by, what is this, July, August, by September. I mean, doing them both by September. and I've created a portfolio, and I'll put the link actually underneath this video. I've created a learning development and design. No, what is it called? Learning design and evaluation portfolio. I was actually up till like 3 o'clock last night completing that thing because I had to get it done. And I'm gonna put, because we learn out loud over here. Okay, in Ypifany, we learn out loud, which means that everything I'm doing, just like I'm doing this video, I'm sharing it in the moment that I'm doing it. Okay, because I want you all to see, I want you all to be able to get whatever you can get from it. I want you to be able to comment, to question it, you know, to use it to help you reflect on what you're actually doing, you know, to see if you want to, you know, stay on that path you're on or do something different, you know, whatever you can use it for. The only thing is I just want it to be useful. Okay. So before I go, let me talk about Pastor Lorenzo Neal. Okay. That was the other significant person that I met 4 years ago at the Black Nonbelievers Conference. Okay. I said Black Nonbelievers Conference. I met Pastor Lorenzo Neal. Okay. He's is it Cogit or Cogent? It's probably Cogit, I think. But I think he's part of that. Now, Pastor Neal actually spoke at the Black Nonbelievers Conference. And it was really, that was a real show of leadership and understanding on Mandisa's part to really have him there speaking, because it's not about I'm right and you're wrong. Like that's really, it's possible for me to believe a certain way. Because right now I used to be Christian. You know, I grew up Southern Louisiana. It's all in my book, Firing God. As a matter of fact, this is my book right here, Firing God. Okay. Southern Louisiana, parents, not parents, but a lot of my family are ministers, deacons, ushers, all that stuff. Okay. I no longer choose to believe in that. All right. But don't be fooled by the cover. It's about more than that. It's much more than religion. Okay. But let me just say, I no longer choose to believe in that. Now, Pastor Neal believes, you know, he believes all that. He's a pastor of a church. You know, he has a congregation. I'm sorry, Dr. Neal. He just got his PhD. Okay. Yeah. So let me say that but I consider him one of my mentors. I have just recently gone to him about something like this because I wanted to start. I have another YouTube channel. It's more on the spiritual side, you know, but it's still the same kind of stuff, you know. But before I started that channel, I went to him and I was like, you know, this is what I'm thinking about doing. What do you think about this idea? You know, how would it resonate with your congregation? Like, what do you think? You know, and he gave me some really valuable feedback. And the thing that I love about Dr. Neal is that he's still who he is, right? From being in the church, I know that people hide behind belief a lot, right? They hide behind, they use it as a shield rather than a way to help connect with other people. You know, they use it as a way to keep other people away. All right. Pastor Neal doesn't do that. And that's very evident, right? And he knows how I get down. Okay. And he's still able to share wisdom and advice with me without making me feel like I'm less than because I don't believe in a certain way. Now that's an art. Okay. You have to be a certain kind of person to be able to do that, right? To be able to have a belief and a way you think the world needs to be navigated and still be able to connect and have a relationship with people who don't see the same. Okay. That's everybody isn't able to do that. I know that everybody is not able to do that. Okay. And for various reasons that I'm totally not going to get into right here, because this is just about YouTube and learning. So I brought that up because that's a learning process, right? That's something that I had to learn, right? I had to realize that it's not me against them. Because before it was me against them. Okay. It was me and the other over there. That's not like me. That's not as good as me, and all this other stuff. Right. Now, once you believe the different way, it could be that same way. The other that used to be them is now me, but the tables have turned. Now you're the other and you're not as good as, it's just a whole thing, which is why this world is messed up anyway. Okay. So it's possible to hold two things in your mind that seem to be opposing. You can hold those two things at the same time and still be okay. You're not going to fall apart. Okay. Nothing's going to fall apart. All right. So that's all I had to say about that. And all those people I mentioned, I like listening to them. So, but go through YouTube and see who's see what's going on. YouTube is there's a whole culture going on. Okay. That if you're not on YouTube, you know nothing about. There's a whole world in there of stuff, right? Which is really interesting to me, and I'm enjoying it, man. I tell my boyfriend, I'm learning new terms all the time. I'm just cracking up late at night. Like last night, I told you I was up to like 3. I was listening. I think on Eastern time. I think Jay Wilson was up to, I think he was the one up late. Yeah. And I'm here just laughing, doing so. It was just great. I really enjoyed this. I'm glad I've discovered it. And I'm happy that I was able to see things in this culture with these groups, with these specific content creators that I've been able to, to use and to see value in, and to bring that into the work that I do in learning development and evaluation. And I think that's the way it should be, right? That's the way it should be. So thank you all for listening. And again, if you're interested in learning development and evaluation and all my crazy ideas that have to do with that, then you can like and subscribe to this channel. I'm also at CherylAbram.com. That's another thing I saw too, that, I think I might be one of the only ones who use my real name, right? Because I want people to find me, right? I absolutely do. So like, subscribe, and share, and I will talk to you again very soon. Bye.